Looks like we're live.
This is the May 27, 2022 meeting of the Pulaski County Board of Election Commissioners. I call this meeting to order. All commissioners are present. We have a quorum. First order of business would be the Pledge of Allegiance. If you all would stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Second item on today's agenda would be the approval of the May 24th, 2022 meeting minutes. Have the commissioners had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 3 under business would be the preliminary review of the provisional ballots from the May 24th preferential primary nonpartisan judicial general election. And I think, Amanda, you're going to lead us into that?
Yes, and I've given you guys a summary of the provisional ballot review. We had 168 total in-person provisional ballots during early voting and on election day. 10 of those were automatically rejected when they came back to the election department. One was indicated by the poll worker that the voter placed their ballot in the scanner. So it technically got counted already. 3 voters did not sign the provisional voter eligibility affirmation, which is on the provisional ballot envelope. 6 voters, there were no information on the envelope, or they didn't put their ballot in a provisional envelope. They left it in a ballot-only envelope, so we have no way of knowing whose ballot that is. So we can't do anything with those. So that left 158 ballots to send to the clerk for review.
Okay, and they were sent to the clerk for review?
They were sent yesterday. We received those back today. 117 were recommended to not be counted, and I listed all those reasons. And 41 were recommended to be counted.
And that would be the last 41 of them that are on the list.
Right.
That have a
The list
yes.
is sorted by yes, the reason, yes
Yeah.
and no. So you have the last 41 on your spreadsheet. Will be counted.
So if the commissioners would at this time take a look at the list and just kind of peruse it, see if you have any items for discussion. So let's take a couple minutes and look through.
That's good.
Guess we'll just be initialing one copy of these.
Yes.
They will be, that's really a list for you.
good,
When you
'cause they're making
certify
notes.
the election, you'll get the official wording list and you'll initial
This
each
is-
page.
this
That's
is a
really
reference
just for
page.
you. Because
Okay,
the
good.
people with IDs can still come in till next Tuesday at noon. So I think there's only 4 or 5, how many?
5.
Yeah, there's a few.
5, which is pretty good.
Yeah, no, it is. I have a few questions. Can I ask them now?
Yes.
Just to confirm the acronyms used here. So AD stands for.
It's on the
on
bottom
the
corner.
There's a key.
of
Did
your-
I?
in
Oh
the
goodness!
photo.
I completely missed that.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I made the
Excuse
same
me.
mistake, Commissioner, so you're not alone.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, okay. Makes sense.
And we'll make our final review of this after we see who's going to show up and validate the registration with their ID or not.
Hmm.
Right. This just gives us the chance to go ahead and send these people out notices and letting them know whether we're going to count their ballot or if we're still not going to, then you come to the hearing next Friday.
Great.
The people that registered after the deadline, their registration remains in effect from now on.
Right.
Yeah.
They just weren't registered in time before that election.
They'll be eligible to run. They'll still be eligible to vote in the runoff.
If they registered by the 23rd.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I have a question, and I think this is something I got a lot of questions about during the election, and we didn't really discuss this, but I've had a lot of people ask me since Tuesday. So just to clarify, so voters registered in another county, so they can. So if someone's just registered at a different address in a different precinct and within Pulaski County, we can do same-day address change, get them in the right precinct, no problem. So that's not the case with county to county, correct?
Correct.
Can you all explain exactly how that works? I mean, they need to fully update their registration by the deadline?
Yes, they need
Okay.
to transfer in by the Friday before the election.
By the Friday before the election,
That's
okay.
the deadline to do the transfer.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying.
If they have a county transfer, say moves from Faulkner to here, are they the person that's supposed to call Faulkner and cancel it, or does our clerk call their clerk and say,
When our clerk transfers that voter in from Faulkner County, they're literally
Okay, yeah, it's a
pulling that
transfer,
record
it's
out of
got it.
Faulkner into Pulaski. So Faulkner no longer has that record.
oh, yeah.
It's good to know.
Well, I'm impressed only 5 people didn't have a proper ID.
There were a few more than that, because some of them did cure it. Under the yes.
They've already cured.
Right.
Great. Glad to hear it.
So
Yeah, at least
Those
everybody
votes to count.
knows.
there was one. There were 2 other ones, but they had already brought in ID. So we went ahead and marked them as yes. I'm sorry, the clerk went ahead and marked them as yes.
So the voters that should have voted in precinct X, so were these are voters that were given the opportunity to change their address, or how, just explain that to me.
Usually if a voter goes to the wrong polling place, and they're told the correct polling place, sometimes they don't want to go or they don't have time to go.
Okay,
So that's more than likely the reason.
okay. So they voted the wrong ballot, essentially.
Mhm.
Okay, just confirming. Thank you so much.
You all take your time and ask all the questions. you
Yeah.
want.
Thanks, because, me and Mike are noobs here,
Yes,
so.
absolutely.
We're newbies. Just want to make sure I'm super clear. Thank you.
Says we had 20 voters that did vote at the wrong polling place.
Yeah, I see that.
And then a lot of that was probably due to the redrawing the lines a bit.
Possibly so. I know there is a lot of confusion. Well, not a lot, a little bit of confusion, thankfully, not a lot. So the removable status, I'm familiar with why voters are removable, but could y'all explain a little bit more just for my understanding?
Which number are you looking at?
So there's a few, it's on page 2. There's a couple right in the middle here. Number 39, 40, 42, 44. Those state removable.
But like the one that's like removable due to inactive status,
Mhm.
means they've been inactive through 2 federal election
Right.
cycles, so they were removed from the voter roll.
So they were already removed from the voter rolls because of that purge, if you will. Yeah.
And the one that's moved out of county
Okay.
was canceled because they no longer live in Pulaski.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of saying not registered, they just labeled as removed.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Mhm.
Melinda, would you like for us to initial one copy of this just to show that we have reviewed made a preliminary review?
Don't use mine.
Yeah, this
It's marked up.
was clean right here.
All right, great.
We'll get you a pretty one if we need to.
Okay, I think I've asked all of my questions, so nope, these are on the yes list. Never mind, I think I'm good.
Remember, we will have another pass at this. So.
Absolutely, no, I think I'm good for the moment then.
You can get all the pages.
Oh, yes. Good point. I actually do have one more question. I think this is noted on a lot of the yeses. It says, should have voted supplemental. I'm just curious what that means.
In the past, the blank poll book page was called a supplemental list of voters, so those,
Okay,
so they're still using the same terminology, so.
Okay.
But they should have voted regular ballot and signed that blank poll book page since their name wasn't in the actual poll book.
okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, they do.
All right, that takes us to our second item of business, which is the June 21st general primary election, the approval of the notice of election.
David, if you,
We got more.
on those, if you guys would like to go ahead and make a motion to, that way we can send out the notices to these voters to let them know.
Just to accept the
Before.
preliminary findings.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not the final findings.
So moved.
You want to go ahead?
Yes.
Well, I'd entertain a motion to approve the preliminary findings of the clerk for the provisional ballots.
Thanks, David. So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay.
And that would take us to our next item of business, which is the approval of the notice of election for the June 21st general primary election.
Yes, and all of the election day polling locations are open that are within the districts that are running. So, and we, for the early vote sites, all of them north of the river will be open since that's where the constable race is. And then Roosevelt, Thompson, and our site will be open because the JP race is in that area. Roosevelt Thompson isn't actually in JP, but it's real close.
There's not an early vote site within that district.
Right,
So that's
right.
the closest.
So that would just be convenient for our voters to have that extra site. That's good.
Right.
Good deal.
One thing I noticed on the early voting location notice, and I just wondered, I think there was some confusion about some of the additional early voting sites and whether they're closed, and we've noted it here that should we put that in even a bigger font on the out?
Closed Monday before.
Yeah, do you think, is there a way to make it even stand out more so when someone's looking at that?
We can, I know the original one, we barely could get it off. Remember that, but this one, there's more room.
Yeah, I just
So we
wondered,
could-
I just wondered,
And
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, that was the main thing I was actually gonna just ask about is, so why are they closed on Monday before? Is there, I mean, can we open them? I mean,
So the Monday before the election, but let me kind of back up. The Monday before the election, we have to get all of the sites we have to get prepared for election day. So with the staff and what we have, normally if you're open the Monday before, like for instance, this election that we just had on Saturday, the early vote sites closed at 4. But we left at 6:30
Right.
because we had to get all of you have to follow all of the election procedures, get everything in and get it situated so that you can start on election day. So if we would have done that on that Monday, it would have been into the hours of the night, and then we would have been here till at 6.
Gotcha.
So it's just the preparation. A lot of states are closed the day before the election so that the people can get things organized. And I think one year they did open the Monday before, and it was the 2020 general. And that was one of the reasons it made it so difficult on that election.
No, I got you.
It would seriously stress our poll workers to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
You mean, of course, the main reason I ask, I mean, it's such a utilized day, and because people say, like, oh, okay, well, tomorrow's election day, maybe I should go early vote today.
Yeah.
And so I hate to deny voters the opportunity to do that, but of course I understand that reasoning. Okay.
And of course, this one will be a smaller election with lower voter turnout.
Of course,
but
yeah.
The other ones were open 15 days before the election.
Right,
so
right,
plenty of
absolutely.
time to vote.
I'm one of those people, I tend to actually, wait until the last minute, and then I'm like, oh crap, tomorrow's election day. Don't want to wait in those lines. Better go today. All right, thank you.
This District 1's over in Little Rock, I guess, and the Constable 1's all north.
Yes.
Did we?
It's north of the river, and JG1 is west,
West Little Rock?
Pulaski County, and parts of West Little Rock.
And they still would have the opportunity to come down here. We have Monday open here.
Right.
They're just not out in all the additional polls.
Right, and I mean, of course, and there was a lot of confusion about that too, because that was what we did in 2020.
And it would be nice
yeah.
if we could either, if it was one way or the other, so it wouldn't confuse the voters.
Right.
It would be nice to say, here's the hours and.
Absolutely. Hopefully maybe that's something we can work on for general. All these other exciting elections all year.
Do y'all see anything that needs to be changed or revised on the notice?
I definitely don't. You were mentioning though, like on font size, right? Like make it bigger, but if we can make sure that on social media and things that we really make that really super clear.
And we post this. This right here is published. So you've got to fit it on a document. If you have a 5-page notice of election, we pay pretty good for this at the paper. So this is so that it just has all of the information all together. But we post and send out notices on every, from this. So.
Of course. Awesome.
Well, I move to approve.
Let me look just another second, Commissioner.
Staying one more second for me.
Let's hold your motion for just a second.
If there's one thing I can't stand is typos and things like that, so I'm just gonna read it over real quick.
I checked the AMs and PMs.
All right, cross the T's, dot the I's.
Okay. Commissioner Masuko, that's a proper motion. to approve the notice. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Motion carries. And I see we don't have, do we have another piece of business here, Melinda?
Well, it's actually other business. So if you look in your packets, I just wanted to let you know, I copied the special election document since Little Rock has called for a special election on August 9th. So I put that in your packets, and that was one of the, and we've published, Amanda's published this. You're supposed to publish it as soon as practical in the newspaper. So it should be in
It'll be on Sunday.
Sunday's paper. And one item that we probably could have discussed, and it will not take long. There was an absentee ballot that was, that you guys had already reviewed, and I let the clerk's office know on, like, you know how, like, if the application, you can't compare it, or maybe the application wasn't good enough, so they're really good about contacting the voter and saying, hey, redo this. But they blew this up because when we reviewed this, it doesn't look like a signature at all. And actually, one of the Candace over there caught it, but I just wanted,
That's the one that has the little scribble.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So they
Yes,
blew it
we
up.
looked hard at
but
that
look-
one.
Yes, we
So
did.
see that? They blew it up for us, but here's the signature. But I just wanted you guys to look at it one more time.
Yeah, no,
Not
thank you.
just say,
I mean, it appears to be, it's some kind of mark. I just can't tell where it is. I mean, it's,
and they are, they're only contacting me if they're a year long, you know.
Take a look at it there, and we'll
Well,
pass
let's
it down and just look
definitely
it
do
back
that.
over
I mean,
again.
I
And you
appreciate
can
them
just
doing
leave your
that.
findings
We'll just
if you.
we're just gonna be thorough, and we'll look at it again.
Of course. I mean, I appreciate them double checking. I mean, I just,
Point of information.
Sir, go ahead.
What is the date of that special election? August?
August 9th.
August 9th.
And I have the calendar prepared,
Okay.
but I need to merge it in with our calendar, and I'll get that for you with the dates and everything.
I mean, when it's blown up, I mean, I can definitely see like a couple of letters that
It just
appear to
still-
match her first name. It just doesn't really look like this signature here at all, but, I mean, it's definitely it's like that. It's very hard to tell in the original form.
And while you're looking at that, I also want to let you know that the clerk's office amended the number of Uwakava voters. They just pulled the wrong amount. So, and I sent that into the Secretary of State's office. So there's 720 outstanding. It's the outstanding Uwakava voters that we report on.
Have any of those
Right.
been handed in?
No more came back since
Right.
the last time.
They get them really early, so.
So we may already have all the ones we're getting.
Yeah, sometimes we might have one or so trickle in for bigger elections.
Sure.
The general, I bet there will be some.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you think?
I think that we were correct on I mean, there's nothing there that you can compare to.
I mean, I
The
can't.
signatures are not comparable.
It's hard to tell if that's even a signature.
If that's even a signature.
It looks like a scribble.
Yes,
I mean, I appreciate they blew it up.
that's certainly fine for them to send it back
Like
over
into-
here with another thought to look at it, and glad to look at it, but I'm still left with the abiding conviction that if that is a signature, and
Yeah.
it's hard for me to say that it's even a signature, it's by someone else. The letters, there's not really any letters I can make out, particularly even when when the mark is blown up.
It's so hard to tell because it's overlapping the writing.
And it's overlapping part of the other text on the document.
Yeah.
It's hard to even analyze because it's really looks like a scribble more
Yeah.
than a signature.
I mean,
And we have mailed out the notices to the absentees, so the ID and all that.
I concur.
I would stay with our findings. Anybody disagree?
I mean, I'm hesitant. I mean, like I was saying, I mean, I can kind of see, like, it kind of looks like she started to write her name and then kind of like went, woo.
You know, I noticed on the clerk's memo, it says for Delilah Johnson. That clearly says Deborah.
Ah,
Oh, McIntyre, I see, must have been a signature's definitely.
in any case.
Anyway, yeah. So we need a motion to stay with this, or what do we do?
Well, we've already made a
Yeah.
determination on it. I will just,
Can I say it one more time before you
Sure.
put it away, Mike?
just on the record, you know, we've
I want to look at what's on the ID.
looked at it again.
Thank you. Just curious. Is it okay if I separate these? Can I separate these? So I can look at it like this.
That's fine. We're probably going to.
I'm just kind of curious,
separate
the
it.
signature on the ID, you know, I mean,
That's
that's very similar either way. I mean, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, like this,
Of course, that's not the signature that we're
That's-
analyzing.
Yeah,
no, I know.
We're not gonna use that.
No, let me make clear. I was just gonna say, I was like, is the ID signature like weird and wonky? Like, I don't know. More, I was just curious. So,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. And it's even with the blown up copy that we got from the clerk here,
Yeah.
it's hard to even make out a letter to even try to make the comparisons that we made as far as structures of letters, pen lifts, style, slant. I mean,
It looks more like
I'm
a
still not sure it's a
QR code
signature.
getting
Yeah.
it looks more like a scribble, and so I don't even think we can apply our analytics to it.
If it was in a straight line, that would have been helpful.
Yeah, yes, and if it was not overlapping the other text to where you could actually see it,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
we've got the same decision.
Well, yeah, I mean, all the ones we did reject, which were, what, 4? 5, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe 5.
It was pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, they were very, very obvious. I think the ones, they were questionable ones we did accept and, you know. Okay.
So all I have is your next meeting is at 5:15 next Friday, and we'll certify, and we'll add to approve or certify the ballots for the primary runoff. We'll have those ready for you to review.
And so the special election, is that,
That's August 9th.
yeah, do we need to do anything more with this today? Okay.
No. I just wanted we hadn't officially announced it, so I wanted to give that to you.
Yeah.
Amanda,
Good deal. Thank
this
you.
notice will be published, will it be in this form exactly, or is it?
It's in the unmarked form. It has the like electronic signatures on it.
Okay,
And that certification on top is not published with it, it's just the actual
Just-
document.
Mhm.
the ordinance? Okay,
Very good.
all right. Do we have any public comment?
No, mine, no.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right,
Hi, Linda.
I'm here because I don't want you to forget about my area. I know that, it has not been on the agenda, but my name is Linda Robinson, and I'm a council member, and I represent the Glenview Precinct, the Sherman Park Precinct, the City Hall Precinct. And to me, it's important that I be here because I don't want you to forget about us. You know, not that you would, but I know with all the preliminary ballots and doing all that, you know, that process is really interesting. It's a learning thing. But this past election day, a couple of my elderly people that voted at Glenview had to be escorted across the street at Sherman Park. And earlier, and these are people that say they don't want to file an absentee ballot because somehow they don't think their ballot is counted. So they think that they have to show up at the poll, vote in person, and they tell me in that way they know for sure that their ballot is counted. And these are people that are in their 80s. So they go way back to the old days, you know.
Sure.
But we had to escort a couple of them across the street at Sherman Park. The problem with Maplewood, the complaints I'm getting is that some people showed up to vote, the door was locked. And so they had to wait. And it just so happened someone that lived in the building, you know, one guy said, and I don't know if it was 15 minutes, but you know, when you waited 15, it could have been 3 minutes, it felt like 15. But, you know, had to wait for one of the people that lived in the building, saw them and opened the door and allowed them to come in and vote. And Ms. Lemon and I, you know, in the past we've talked about some things and we talked about things that would probably be a win-win for us and for you all. And I know those things cannot be discussed or anything right now because you all have the final say so. And I know it has to be presented to you all in such a way, you know, to get your vote. But I want you to not forget about us at Glenview. Sherman Park being inundated with a lot of people coming in from other areas, even though there may not have been that many that voted at Sherman Park. But I know several folks from the Glenview area went over to Sherman Park and voted, and several people that voted at City Hall went over to Maplewood. So in closing, I'll say, don't forget about us.
Well, no,
Let's make this a
Absolutely.
win-win, that we can live with it and you all can live with it. And I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. We
Well,
always
I'll be here
appreciate.
next time too.
I'm sorry, I
Okay.
didn't say that again, Ms. Robinson.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I intend to be here.
We
You know, I
always
get
appreciate
the
it.
announcement and I get your agenda to look at. But you know, I'm old school, perseverance.
Well,
Hang in there.
we
Stay in
always
there.
appreciate you coming, and we
All right.
appreciate your input.
Thank you.
And you know that we're going to try to do our best for all of our voters, and we're going to try to get them the best experience we can.
I
So
appreciate that.
with your help, see, and with the community's help, so we can only go to these places that'll allow us to be there. So we're going to keep working on it.
Well,
Absolutely.
I understand that.
And-
And Mayor Hartwick, you know, he's involved and I've been discussing some things with him and, you know, he's saying, well, this looks good to me. But like I said, we can't do anything until you all vote, okay?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
And it
I'm-
is in the
For the
works.
record, I'm a North Little Rocker. I will not forget about you. Thank you.
Do we have any announcements from any of our commissioners here?
No, sir.
Don't have anything. Anything from the staff? With that, I'll adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman.